Despite its reputation as an all-time classic, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 often receives some flack for how many assets it reuses from the previous games. If you took a shot every time you saw something that was lifted from X-Men vs. Street Fighter or Marvel 1, you'd probably suffer from alcohol poisoning before the first character goes down. However, the game features plenty of brand new fighters that had never graced the series with their presence before, so they're who we're here to look at. No matter how strong or pathetically underpowered they might be, all of them bring something really fresh to the table. By the way, we'd be here until RAM prices come down if I discussed every single little detail about these combatants, so I'll solely focus on the important stuff and try to keep things concise. Now that the stage has been set, let's explore the newcomers of
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes.
Potentially the strangest character in series history, and that's saying something, Amingo is a sentient cactus who's modest enough to wear clothes while beating you to a pulp. Unfortunately, not even a wicked sombrero is enough to make up for a susceptibility to zoning and overheads, below average mobility tools, non-existent aerial control, lackluster support value, and some range issues with his supers. It's not all doom and gloom though, as there are actually some useful tricks up his sleeve. You just have to use them very carefully. Amingo's heavy normals, especially standing heavy punch and jumping heavy kick, are amongst the highest damaging in the game, allowing him to thrive in the mid-range. Cancelling these into his cactus dash or bounce are how he'll be ending ground combos, and his cactus kids can be used to maintain block string pressure through strikes and command grabs. Well, that's the idea at least, as in reality, they can easily be eliminated in the blink of an eye. To compensate for his non-existent air dash, Cactus Dash can be used to combine forward movement with a hitbox. At the worst of times, its linear trajectory and recovery frames will get you punished, but at the best of times, it'll be used for an infinite. Oh yeah, it's not just the high tiers who have these. Although it only works on 5 characters, it's actually not that hard to execute. Not bad, Amingo. Interestingly, 2 of his 3 assists are projectiles that offer health and defense buffs should you make contact with them. He's not the only fighter to have assists like this, but they're still okay to have in a pinch. It must be stated that if you're looking for a true team player who will give their all to support their teammates, then Amingo is most definitely not who you're looking for. He takes far more than he provides. Putting aside how he was slain by Sentinels in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I think I speak for everyone when I say that Amingo is the light of Western society. Man, he'd be cool to have in a modern fighting game. Making his way out of Darkstalkers, Anakaris' low health and overwhelming pressure makes him the definition of high risk, high reward. Because of this, you can kind of think of him as a slower version of Dhalsim that almost exclusively appeals to character specialists. His lack of regular throws, wacky inputs, multiple command normals, floaty jump, and unorthodox movement patterns prevent him from being accessible to newcomers. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if some experienced players struggles to wrap their heads around his weird playstyle. Even so, Anakaris is one of the most creative fighters in the game. He can use long-range buttons to control the space in front of him, summon coffins from a variety of ranges to prevent the opponent from reaching his position, use a lengthy command grab to keep them scrambling, attempt high-low mix-ups with close-range normals, and even curse the enemy via a projectile. If this happens, they're almost guaranteed to lose their character, as many assists can turn this into an infinite. Even roll can make this work, dude. When he's in the back, physical hits, command grab, and projectile assists can each serve distinct purposes. Once you've committed their Raging Demon and Mortal Kombat style inputs to memory, you'll find that Anakaris' supers are far from conventional. Take Pharaoh Illusion and Pharaoh Cobra Throw for example. The former involves each button moving Anakaris' arms in unique ways, and the latter can be mashed with ultra-precise timing. Just like everything else in his toolkit, they can be amazingly effective once you've perfected your timing, but they leave much to be desired if you're not 100% committed to understanding his intricacies. If you're looking for someone who's really straightforward and easy to learn the game with, stay far, far away from Anakaris. He might look and sound really cool, but he'll put your brain through the ringer if you come in unprepared. He's really tricky. Thanks to her Little Red Riding Hood inspired appearance, BB Hood may seem all sweet and innocent, but she's actually a ruthless Darkstalkers hunter. Making liberal use of knives, firearms, explosives, and fire-breathing champagne bottles, Boletta is all about controlling mid to long-range distances via projectiles. Her grounded heavy normals serve as one-button projectiles that have poor range and keep her stuck in place, whereas the aerial versions cover her downwards movement and build extra meter. If you combine these with her double jump, BB can stay really slippery and unpredictable. When keeping the enemy as far away as possible, you'll want to utilize her Cheer and Fire and Smile and Missile special moves, as these cover common angles that many characters love to travel through. Layering these with long-range assists is key to prolonging your zoning game, and if she's in the back, her missile assist gets the job done nicely. If your defense is broken through by a smart player, Boletta has some tricky close-range tools too. Mid-ranged command normals can hit confirm into supers. She has an advancing strike that's not only a great combo ender, but also a reliable block string ender, and she can even stick to the floor like glue. Beautiful Memory is a high damage hit grab super. Hyper Apple for You is a close-ranged unblockable that spawns 3 giant bombs if it whiffs, and Cruel Hunting is the mother of all projectile supers. On its own, it does shocking damage, is fast enough to link after crouching buttons, and can almost instantly kill an assist fighter. However, if you make use of this via a team super, you need only sit back and watch as the enemy's health bar disintegrates. Juggernaut is the best candidate for this, as his Head Crush super keeps the enemy stuck in Cruel Hunting's most effective range. Outside of these positive qualities, BB Hood takes more damage than the average character, many of her light normals have limited range, and she has almost zero unique aerial options. If you love running away and want to break free from the usual Cable and Blackheart strategies, Boletta is right up your alley. Speaking of Cable, he's a deadly time traveler with a serious case of prosthetic arm-itis, although his status as an S tier more than makes up for this. Before I touch on anything else, I need to mention his aerial Hyper Viper Beam. When performed on the ground, the super has lethargic startup and recovery, limiting its use in neutral and in combos. If he jumps, however, it travels across the entire screen in 2 frames, is guaranteed to snipe assists, and can link into itself via Tiger Knee motions. Assuming you've got at least 2 bars of meter, there's nothing stopping you from looping the super until the opponent's character is dead and buried. You can even cancel the startup of his DP assist alpha counter to instantly force the enemy into a defensive position. By the way, this assist is not only fully invincible on startup, but it covers a crazy amount of diagonal distance. Time Flip is Cable's other super, but with how strong the Hyper Viper Beam is, you'll almost never need to use it. When in neutral, Jumping and Standing Heavy Kick are fantastic combo starters and hit confirm tools. Crouching Light Kick and Punch are Cable's fastest normals, and they can easily confirm into Air Hyper Viper Beam. Jumping Heavy Punch is a really annoying one-button projectile that guarantees a guard break if timed correctly. Standing Heavy Punch can be mashed for extra hits and screen coverage, and Viper Beam, Scimitar, and Elect Trap are useful for shutting down the enemy's movement. Crackdown is a decent close-range special move for when you want to conserve meter, and Side Charge is one of the most awful hit grabs I think I've ever seen in any fighting game. It has terrible range and leads to a full punish on block, so make sure not to accidentally input this. Honestly, there's really not much else for me to say. In my view, Cable is one of the strongest zoners to ever appear in a Capcom fighter, as all he needs to even the playing field is 1 bar of meter. As the final Darkstalker we'll be covering, Felicia is one of the cheeriest, most upbeat characters I've ever seen in a fighting game. With only 1 projectile in her kit, that has a smaller hitbox than you might think, she's all about being up close and personal, using a variety of long-range buttons and forward-moving special attacks to claw at the enemy. My favourite of which is the Rolling Buckler, a Sonic-inspired spin dash that has 3 follow-ups. Whether you're using it for combo enders, anti-airs, a fake-out tool in neutral, or even a surprise low, this is quite the versatile move. Additionally, Felicia can cling to walls, perform a command grab that has 0 range, and come down with a multi-hitting delta kick. Recklessly throwing these out in neutral is pretty risky, but if you've got a hard read or need a consistent air combo ender, this is the move for you. It also leaves her right in front of the opponent, which is great for maintaining pressure. With that said, a major weakness of Felicia's is that she doesn't have lots of health. Her assists aren't anything special either, as outside of combos, they can easily be avoided or defended against. On the bright side, her supers are awesome! Dancing Flash and Super Sand Splash have generous ranges that can hit from a mile away, and Please Help Me is a corner infinite. As long as you have meter, you can dash up, input a quick standing light kick, and cancel into the super. Even though she's always been viewed as a low tier, Felicia is one of my favorite fighters to mess around with in training mode. She's simple, straightforward, and has some really cool animations, so how could you go wrong? If you're a fan of bald eagles, liberty, and freedom, look no further than Guile, the all-American hero. Just like in Street Fighter, there are two charge-based special moves in his move list, the Sonic Boom and Flash Kick. The former is a small projectile that can be used as a wall to cover his movement, and the latter is a great anti-air and combo ender. Interestingly, this hits multiple times and can now be performed in the air as a Mortal Kombat-styled down-up input, meaning that there's no charge requirement. The Marvel vs. Capcom stimulus tastes good, doesn't it, Guile? All his iconic command normals make a return too, with Straight Punch and Spinning Back Knuckle being able to easily link into supers. Combo damage is another strong suit, as just about any basic route you can imagine will hit pretty hard. These aren't the most damaging combos ever, mind you, but for simple meterless strings with low execution requirements, they could be a lot worse. Spending meter to tack on some extra damage is great for starting DHCs, even if his grounded supers aren't anything crazy. On the other hand, Crossfire Assault is a stylish attack string, and man, is it weird for Guile of all characters to have an air super. Guile's giant anti-air assist covers that sweet 45-degree angle, oh yeah, and this makes him a solid, if a bit predictable, support fighter. In fact, I would argue that this is his most glaring weakness, as there's nothing in his toolkit that's truly surprising. He can't air dash, teleport, fly, etc., so aside from some air throw resets, his movement is quite linear. But, if you're committed to defending America's honor, don't let anyone stop you from getting a sick flat top. Originating from the Star Gladiator series, Hayato brings some special characteristics into battle, the most important of which involves his plasma sword. By holding back and inputting a series of buttons, he'll begin performing what's known as plasma combos. Think of these as very loose target combos that allow him to easily hit confirm off stray pokes. It's not like they're an endless series of mids either, as Hayato can sneak in overheads, lows, assists, specials, or even supers if you want some extra damage and pressure. To say that these turn him into a blockstring demon would be an understatement, as you can lose a lot of life by falling victim to a frame trap. His regular normals don't have amazing frame data, but their range and combo potential generally get the job done. With the power of special moves, he can advance forward with sword swipes, use a grounded or aerial DP to cover the vertical space directly above or in front of him, and throw out a command grab that begins juggles. Two of his three assists are identical, save for different team supers and alpha counters, and they tend to begin from full screen away, somewhat limiting their use in combos. All of this is well and good, but the real meat and potatoes of Hayato's move list are his supers. He can go crazy with 7 powerful slashes, summon 5 pillars of energy that shoot forward, activate an install that grants him 8 seconds of infinite meter, and channel his inner Akuma for a level 3 Raging Demon. Despite lacking powerful zoning tools or near instant normals, Hayato is one of Marvel 2's most unique fighters, as well as a dependable contender for ratio battles. Following a strict training regimen for those who battle horrific bioweapons, Valentine has finally learned how to jump, allowing her to participate in Marvel vs. Capcom. Take what you know about Resident Evil 1's depiction of Jill and throw it out the window, as she no longer has to worry about tank controls and limited ammunition. In fact, she's actually pretty fast, and can utilize rapid movement to stay right up in the opponent's grill. In her time away from the Spencer Mansion, she's become somewhat of a zombie whisperer, being able to summon them onto the screen. If she knocks one of them over, they can bite at the enemy's ankles, and this is a great callout tool if the enemy tech rolls out of her slide. By the way, this normal is incredible, and leads to a full combo once they've been conditioned to remain grounded. Flaming zombies are unblockable, leading to setups, and dogs/birds can cover the ground and air respectively. Charging Stars is a close-range tackle that can be held for extra hits, as well as being a pun on Captain America's Charging Star. Grenade Launcher is a diagonal space control tool, and Return Fire is a counter that catches physical hits. You can mash the follow-up for extra damage, but it usually fails to properly connect, so I don't recommend using this move at all. In addition to having lower than average health, Jill's range and support value leave much to be desired. There are no fast meterless projectiles within her move list, her assists are unsafe, cover almost zero effective ranges, and don't really do much damage at all. Rocket's Launcher is slow yet damaging, Hypercharging Stars is a reliable combo ender and DHC starter, and Tyrant Escape is one of the coolest looking supers in the game. If you want to combine a fast-paced fighting style with tricky set play and some sweet oversized arm pads, look no further than Jill Valentine. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that Marvel 2 was many people's first exposure to Marrow, the often forgotten former X-Men villain. Similar to how Boneclaw Wolverine fights by using his skeleton, she does the exact same thing, hence her name being Marrow, you know, like bone marrow. Unlike the previous fighters we've covered, where I can cleanly fit them into a specific archetype, our bony friend loves to slip in and out of rushdown and zoning strategies. Rapid ground movement, a suite of aerial options, and a projectile that's great for trapping the enemy in place bolster her aggression, with the same options working wonders for keep away. The projectile, which is called Boomerang, is her strongest assist, as it provides far more advantages than her unsafe DP and dive kick. Marrow's light and medium normals are also on the average side, as many of them lack any standout properties, whereas her heavy normals do extra damage and reach farther out. Stinger Bones does a solid amount of damage, whilst being a reliable combo ender, and Bone Burst is a homing series of projectiles. Unfortunately, Marrow takes almost 20% more damage than the average fighter, and what it all comes down to is that she's simply outclassed by the game's other rushdown and zoner-focused characters. They do more damage, have more health, possess greater mobility tools, can meaningfully support their teammates, and whatever else you can think of. Due to this, you see her being used so infrequently that I sometimes forget that she's in the game. While she may pale in comparison to most of the roster, her move list is genuinely fun to use, so I would recommend trying her out the next time you play some casual matches with friends. Along with Amingo, Ruby Heart is one of Marvel 2's original fighters, and she's actually stronger than you may think. By using a multitude of trap-based special moves, Ruby can turn the screen into an ever-changing obstacle course, one that slowly chips the opponent to death over time. Her heavy normals work as mid-range keep-out and combo tools, and her light and medium offerings work as trusty hit confirms and pokes. Although her mobility options and mix-ups leave much to be desired, using assists to cover her movement while she builds meter and throws out special moves is the cornerstone of Ruby's strategy. On the topic of assists, Sublimation is a wonderful get-off-me tool that reaches super high, Rafale Cannon is a diagonal hit grab, and the Enhance Assist doesn't have a proper name, but it does grant your point character a damage buff upon contact. Honestly, I didn't even know this was in the game until I started working on this video, as I've only ever seen Ruby Heart players select Sublimation. In addition to being one of the tallest special moves in the game, it's safe on block and can cover different ranges. Use this move like your life depends on it, because it kind of does. Phantom summons a ghost that steals meter should it latch onto the enemy. Schwarzheil is a useful yet unsafe momentum tool used for combos and traversal, and the strength of Rafale Cannon will result in either a hit grab or capture. Supers are another of Ruby's strengths, as they start up fast, are used to make DHC safe, and hit like a truck. Even her infamous Barrel Super has its uses for air combos. If you love to run away and slowly deal damage over time through repeated projectile sequences and ship damage, look no further than Ruby Heart. Once you form a team that excels at controlling every range imaginable, nothing feels quite as satisfying. Servebot, where do I even begin with you? It's never been a secret that our lovable robot friend is one of the worst characters to ever appear in literally any fighting game on the planet. So just to make his day a bit brighter, let's briefly cover his strengths. Servebot is so small to the point where he falls out of combos and fails to be struck by common projectiles. His tiny limbs can be used for instant overheads on just about any other character. Lunch Rush does a crap ton of damage and results in a paltry amount of red life. And most importantly, he's cute as a button. Other than that, he's completely irredeemable. His assists do next to nothing and can easily be avoided. His damage output is so small that you probably won't even notice your health bar being depleted. His special moves are unsafe, have poor range, and possess almost zero combo potential, and he's part of the lowest health value in the whole game. In case it wasn't obvious by now, Servebot was intentionally designed to be a joke character through and through, and there are zero reasons to select him if you aren't just messing around with friends. What I've always found really funny is that Capcom went out of their way to transform him into a playable fighter, only to make him borderline unplayable in the process. On that note, he's still better than Roll, who fails to duck under attacks that cleanly pass over Servebot. This means that for all of his setbacks, and there are a lot of them, Servebot takes comfort in knowing that he's not the worst Marvel vs. Capcom character. Score 1 for the little guy. For those of you who love the idea of playing as a high-speed monkey girl, Sonson aims to please. Mobility is the name of the game, as she can use fast ground dashes, air dashes, crawling, and wall-walking techniques to remain slippery. If you're ever unsure of what to do, think of the old boomer shooters, where you constantly have to move around, lest you get hit once and die. Whether you're flying through the air or rushing on the ground, Sonson's heavy normals do a great job at swatting enemies away like flies, especially forward heavy punch. The downside is that it has a lot of recovery frames, so you'd be wise to cover it with an assist. Her light normals are fast and can easily link into Magic Series routes, but many of them don't hit very far. Plus, most of them are mids, even ones that look like lows. Projectiles, anti-airs, and healing fruits make up her assists. Personally, I like using the anti-air, as it's fast, hits multiple times, and covers a common flight path. But the projectile's multiple hits and defensive wall is pretty awesome too. These are arguably even stronger when Sonson is on the field, as she can now cancel them into supers for added damage, and her hit grab / button mash special moves add even more types of attacks for the enemy to worry about. Giant Staff Smash, Monkey King, and Pow work wonders for DHC routes, although the last two startup prevents them from reliably being used in solo combos. In these situations, the former is your best friend, as for only 1 bar of meter, you can score some decent damage, it's not too bad. Monkey King is my favorite however, as I've always loved how you can move around and perform different follow-ups. Although her health values are on the lower side, messing around with Sonson's tricky movement tools is a lot of fun. She may struggle against the higher tiers, but there's a genuinely well thought out set of mechanics within her toolkit. It took a while, but we've made it to the final Marvel 2 newcomer, Tron Bonne. Despite her size and speed issues, Tron's colourful robot suit, high health values, and endless legion of Servebots can really put in work if she scores a lucky hit. If things fail to go her way, her wide hurt box will keep her trapped in a blender of instant overheads, lows, assist pressure, and anything else you can imagine. But if the stars align, she can crank the heat up in an instant. If she lands one beacon bomb from anywhere on the screen, she can wait a moment, call in a Servebot, and shoot out another beacon bomb. In my opinion, this is one of the easiest infinites in the game, at least from an execution standpoint. If you can somehow catch a standing opponent who isn't moving around like crazy, then consider this as your ultimate reward. Making things even better is Tron's projectile assist, and if you know even a little bit about Marvel 2, you'll know where I'm about to go with this. On the surface, it's just a standing normal, so you wouldn't think it's anything special, right? Well, for whatever reason, the assist has zero scaling, meaning each hit does the maximum amount of damage. Having the ability to instantly force the enemy into an explosive mix-up is arguably her strongest quality. Finally, Tron's solo combos aren't too bad. Many ground normals can link into her heavy bond strike, allowing for easy super confirms. If all you've ever wanted is to scare your friends with a horrifying assist, Tron is absolutely the fighter for you. She struggles hard on point, particularly if she's the final character, but with how one assist is all that's needed to even the playing field, you might want to give her a shot anyway. And those are all the newcomers of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. A massive thank you goes to the SuperComboWiki website for their detailed game information. Being able to glance at their character pages to jog my memory about characters I haven't used in a while helped a bunch, and it was great fun screwing around in training mode to see what I could find. On a more formal note, I've been really busy with life stuff recently, so being able to condense each fighter into a bite-sized chunk of information helped out a lot with getting the video done on time. I've been wanting to make another Marvel vs. Capcom focused video for quite some time now, and I feel that this topic was pretty interesting. As mentioned in the intro, I wasn't able to include every possible detail due to time constraints, so if there's anything important you would like to make known, please feel free to elaborate in the comments. Okay, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you and your time, and I hope you had fun. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.